Meanwhile, Vice President, that is, Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris met with the U.S. hostage and ceasefire team inside the Situation Room today. The president released a statement following the discovery of those bodies this weekend, saying that he is outraged and devastated. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News correspondent Skyler Henry from the White House. Skyler, good to see you this afternoon. President Biden was asked about Netanyahu's efforts to get this ceasefire deal done. Walk us through what that exchange looked like.
Yeah, Chanel, good to see you. We were on the South Lawn as the president arrived from vacation, answering questions from reporters about what exactly he hopes Israel will come up with as it relates to getting to a ceasefire agreement and also bringing some of those hostages home. We should point out that the president was asked in various capacities what the situation looks like on the ground in Israel and how he is reacting to that. Of course, this was before he met with his team in the Situation Room. But he was also asked about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and whether he was doing enough as it relates to this hostage deal. Take a listen.
Do you think it's time for Prime Minister Netanyahu to do more on this issue? Do you think he's doing enough?
No.
He didn't go on further as it relates to that response, but we have been seeing reactions to the president's remarks on both sides. We've heard from Israeli officials who feel as if the president's response was, quote, remarkable, and said that it was also dangerous because it came days after the Hamas execution of those 6 hostages, including that Israeli American. And we're also hearing from Hamas as well, who said that Biden's criticism of Netanyahu was American recognition that Netanyahu was responsible for undermining efforts to reach a deal. And so I think this shows the impasse, if you will, that the two sides are at. We know that the president was also asked whether there would be any sort of final hostage deal that would be presented to both sides. The president did say that they were relatively close to presenting something like that this week. We'll see ultimately what happens in the days ahead and if that pressure on the prime minister forces some sort of compromise in the near future.
And Skyler, also want to ask about that meeting between the president and the U.S. negotiating team. When is that happening in the Situation Room? And what more can you tell us about this?
Yeah, we know that President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and a host of others were part of that meeting. In fact, the White House put out a readout just a short time ago on the details of that conversation, and it went on to talk about how the President and Vice President received an update from the negotiation team about bridging that proposal that is outlined by the United States, Qatar, and Egypt. They also talked about the next steps in the ongoing effort to secure the release of hostages, and that includes continuing consultations with Qatar and Egypt. And I think these will be the continuing talks. We know that Secretary Blinken has been in the region for weeks, days, trying to find some common ground, if you will, with his counterparts in the region. We also know that because of what we have seen over the course of this weekend in terms of President Biden's conversations with the Israeli American hostages' families, that this might ramp up that pressure a little bit more. We'll see how Israel will choose to come to the negotiating table and whether that has any sort of impact on a final agreement.
Okay, we'll keep a close eye on this. Skyler Henry, thank you.
You bet.